Part 1. The Brutal Truth About Time. You know what's crazy? Right now, as you're reading this, time is slipping away. Not in some dramatic philosophical way, I mean literally. Every second that passes is gone forever. And here's the kicker. You can't buy it back. You can't negotiate with it. You can't even slow it down. Think about that for a moment. Really think about it. You lose money, you can earn it back. Your business fails, you can rebuild. Your health tanks, with effort and discipline, you can recover. But time, once it's gone, it's gone. No do-overs, no second chances, no magic reset button. This isn't some motivational fluff. This is the most fundamental reality of your existence. And yet, most of us treat time like it's unlimited, like there's always tomorrow, like we have decades to figure things out. We don't. Every single person on this planet gets exactly 24 hours in a day. Bill Gates has 24 hours. That struggling entrepreneur in Brooklyn has 24 hours. That single mom working 2 jobs has 24 hours. You have 24 hours. Same number. No exceptions. No special privileges. So why do some people build empires while others can barely get through their to-do list? Why do some people achieve remarkable things while others feel stuck in the same place year after year? The difference isn't talent. It isn't luck. It isn't who your parents are or where you went to school. The difference is how they use their time. Some people invest their time, others waste it. And that small difference, compounded over months and years, creates completely different lives. Let me ask you something. How often do you say, "I don't have time"? Be honest. I don't have time to work out. I don't have time to learn that skill. I don't have time to start that project. We say it so casually, like it's just a fact of life. But here's the uncomfortable truth. You do have time. You're just choosing to spend it on something else. I know that sounds harsh, but stay with me. Look at your day honestly. Track your time for just one day. Not what you think you do, but what you actually do. Where does it go? How much time disappears into mindlessly scrolling through social media? How much evaporates in pointless conversations that go nowhere? How much gets absorbed by the endless content consumption, videos, articles, posts, that you won't even remember tomorrow? These aren't bad things in moderation, but when they're eating up 3, 4, 5 hours of your day, that's not a time management problem. That's a choice problem. Imagine this. What if you took just 2 hours a day, 120 minutes, and invested it in something that actually moves your life forward? Learning a high-value skill, building something meaningful, working on your health, developing a side project. 2 hours a day doesn't sound like much, does it? But here's what happens. 2 hours a day is 14 hours a week. That's 56 hours a month, 672 hours a year. That's the equivalent of 16 40-hour work weeks dedicated entirely to your growth in 1 year. That's the power of time. It compounds. Just like money, in an investment account, the time you put in today grows exponentially over months and years. The person you become in 5 years is the result of what you do with your time today. Most people don't fail because they're lazy. They fail because they're busy with the wrong things. Being busy isn't the same as being productive. Let me say that again. Being busy is not the same as being productive. You can be busy all day and accomplish nothing of real value. Answering emails, attending meetings that could have been emails, putting out fires that never should have started. doing work that keeps you occupied but doesn't move you forward. That's not productivity. That's just motion. Productive means your actions are taking you closer to your goals. Busy means you're just filling time. So here's the question you need to ask yourself every single day. Is what I'm doing right now moving me toward the life I want? If the answer is no, you need to stop immediately, because every minute you spend on something that doesn't matter is a minute you're stealing from something that does. Time doesn't care about your intentions. It doesn't wait for you to figure things out. It's moving whether you're ready or not. There's a timing to life that most people miss. When you're young, that's your time to learn, to experiment, to build skills. When you're building your career, that's your time to grow, to take risks, to establish yourself. When you're in your peak earning years, that's your time to leverage what you've built. But if you waste each phase waiting for the perfect moment, you wake up one day with nothing but regret. And let me tell you something about regret. It's the most painful feeling in the world. It's looking back and thinking, I had the chance. I had the time. Why didn't I do something about it? At that point, you might have money. You might have resources. But you can't buy back the years you wasted. You can't reclaim the opportunities you let slip away. That's why smart people take their present seriously. They understand that the only time they truly have is right now. Time management isn't about scheduling every minute of your day like some robot. It's not about becoming rigid or losing spontaneity. It's about being intentional. It's about knowing where your time is going and why. When you become aware of how you spend your time, your habits automatically start to improve. You start making better choices. You start saying no to things that don't serve you. You start protecting your time like the valuable resource it is. Here's something else people get wrong. They think time management means working nonstop, that you should squeeze productivity out of every waking moment. That's not sustainable. That's a recipe for burnout. You need rest. You need play. You need time to recharge, to connect with people you care about, to just be human. But, and this is important, that balance only makes sense when the core of your time is going toward something meaningful. You can't rest from a life you're not actively building. That's not balance. That's just avoidance. Have you ever noticed how successful people treat their time? They're not casual about it. They don't waste it on trivial things. They know that every hour is valuable. They plan their days. They set priorities. They eliminate distractions, not because they're obsessed with productivity, but because they respect the finite nature of time. This discipline is what separates them from everyone else. And speaking of distractions, let's talk about the biggest time thief of the modern age, your phone, specifically social media. Now, I'm not saying social media is evil. It's a tool. It can connect you with people, help you learn, even build your business. But if you don't control it, it will control you. You pick up your phone for just 5 minutes to check Instagram. 2 hours later, you're still scrolling. You didn't plan to waste that time. It just happened. That's not accidental. These platforms are designed to capture your attention. They're engineered by some of the smartest people in the world to keep you engaged. Every notification, every infinite scroll, every algorithm, it's all designed to eat your time. And it works. The average person spends over 3 hours a day on their phone. 3 hours. That's 21 hours a week, 1,200 hours a year. Imagine what you could build with 1,200 hours. This is hidden time loss. It doesn't feel like you're wasting time because it's broken into tiny chunks throughout the day, but it adds up fast. So here's what you do. Control your environment. If you need to focus, remove the distractions. Put your phone in another room. Turn off notifications. Set specific times for checking social media instead of letting it interrupt you all day. Small changes like this can save you hours every single week. Now, let me introduce you to a concept that will change how you think about time. Time investment. Just like you invest money to get returns, you can invest time to get returns. If you invest time in learning today, you get better opportunities tomorrow. If you invest time in your health today, you get energy and vitality in the future. If you invest time in relationships today, you build a support system that will be there when you need it. But if you waste time today, all you get tomorrow is regret. Every single day you have to consciously decide, am I investing my time or am I wasting it? This requires clarity. If you don't know what you want, you can't use your time effectively. You'll just drift from one thing to another, never really making progress. That's why the first step is getting clear on your goals. What do you actually want? Not what your parents want, not what society expects. What do you want your life to look like? When you have clarity, your time naturally flows toward meaningful activities. You stop wasting energy on things that don't matter. You can start small. 1 hour a day for learning, 30 minutes for exercise, 10 minutes for planning. These tiny habits, repeated consistently, will completely transform your life. Consistency is the key here. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. And here's something most people don't understand. Time doesn't stop for anyone. Whether you take action or not, time keeps moving. So you might as well take action. Because if you keep waiting for the perfect moment, it will never come. The best time is always now. A lot of young people say, I have plenty of time. I'll do it later. That's the biggest mistake you can make. The time you have in your 20s and 30s is your most powerful time. Your energy is high. Your responsibilities are lower. Your capacity to learn is at its peak. If you make the right decisions during this phase, you can set up your entire life. But if you waste those years, you'll spend your 40s and 50s trying to catch up. And it's much harder to build momentum when you're starting from zero at 45. Respecting time means respecting your life. When you value your time, you value yourself. And when you value yourself, your life automatically starts to improve. Think of it this way. Time is the currency you use to buy your life. Everything you have, your career, your health, your relationships, your happiness, you build it all with time. So don't take it lightly. Treat every day as an opportunity. Starting today, follow this simple rule. Spend your time on things that truly matter, not things that feel urgent, not things that are easy, things that matter. Every day, try to be a little bit better than you were yesterday. Read a little, learn a little, build a little, rest when you need to, but always be moving forward. These small, consistent improvements will compound, and over time, they'll transform your ordinary life into something extraordinary. You want control over your life? You want your time to work for you instead of against you? Then start by getting clear on what matters, eliminate what doesn't, and invest your time like the precious non-renewable resource it is. Because at the end of your life, you won't regret the things you did. You'll regret the things you didn't do, the chances you didn't take, the time you didn't use. Don't let that be your story. Your time is ticking right now, this very second. What are you going to do with it? Part 2. Clarity comes before control. Here's something nobody tells you about time management. You can't manage what you don't understand. Think about it. You can read every productivity book. You can download every app. You can buy the perfect planner. But if you don't have clarity about what you're actually trying to achieve, all of that is just noise. It's like having a sports car with no destination. Sure, you can drive fast, but where are you going? This is where most people get stuck. They want control over their time. They want to feel organized. They want to stop feeling overwhelmed. But they're trying to manage their time without first getting clear on their priorities. And that's backwards. Clarity comes before control, always. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're walking down a road. You're moving fast, taking big steps, making good time. But you have no idea where you're going. You don't know if you're headed toward your destination or away from it. How do you feel? Productive? Accomplished? No. You feel anxious, confused, like you're wasting energy. That's exactly what happens when you try to be productive without clarity. You stay busy, you check things off your list. But at the end of the day, you feel empty because you don't know if any of it actually mattered. Busy without purpose is just exhaustion. Most of us wake up and start our day without a clear plan. We react to whatever comes at us. Someone sends an email, we respond. A notification pops up, we check it. A problem emerges, we deal with it. We spend the whole day reacting. And at night, when we finally sit down, we feel tired. We feel like we worked hard. But when we ask ourselves, what did I actually accomplish today? The answer is usually, not much. This happens because of one thing: lack of clarity. Clarity isn't just about knowing your big goals. It's about understanding what you need to do right now, in this moment, to move toward those goals. It's a kind of direction that guides every small action you take. When you have clarity, decisions become easy. You don't waste time wondering, what should I do next? You already know. Your day has structure, your actions have purpose. But without clarity, every decision feels hard. Every task feels equally important. And you end up spinning your wheels. So how do you get clarity? First, you need to define your goals. And not just vague wishes like, I want to be successful or I want to be happy. That's not a goal. That's just hope. Real goals are specific. They're measurable. They have a timeline. And they need to exist on 3 levels: daily, weekly, and long-term. Your long-term goals show you the big picture. Where do you want to be in 3 to 5 years? What kind of life do you want to build? What does success actually look like for you? Your weekly goals are the stepping stones toward that vision. They break down the big picture into manageable chunks. And your daily goals are the actions you take every single day to make progress. When these 3 levels align, something magical happens. Your life starts to flow. You wake up with purpose. You know exactly what you need to do. And every day feels like you're building toward something real. Let me give you an example. Say your long-term goal is to become financially independent. That's great. But what does that actually mean? Your weekly goal might be to learn a new high-income skill, maybe sales, copywriting, or digital marketing. something that increases your earning potential. And your daily goal? Spend 1 to 2 hours actually practicing that skill, reading about it, applying it, getting better at it. See how that works? Every day connects to the week. Every week connects to the long-term vision. Nothing is random. Everything has a purpose. That's clarity in action. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Once you have clarity, your time automatically starts to organize itself. You don't need complicated systems. You don't need to schedule every minute of your day. Because when you know what's important, you naturally focus on it. Distractions start to fade, not because you're forcing yourself to ignore them, but because they simply don't matter anymore. Let's say you're a student and you have a major exam coming up. You know, really know, that this exam is critical for your future. You have total clarity about why it matters. When you sit down to study, your mind doesn't wander to Instagram or YouTube. Why? Because you have a strong reason pulling you forward. The clarity gives you focus. But if you don't have that clarity, if you're just studying because you're supposed to, your mind will drift. You'll get bored. You'll reach for your phone every 5 minutes. That's the power of clarity. It strengthens your focus. On the flip side, when you lack clarity, your mind becomes scattered. You're interested in everything and committed to nothing. A little bit of studying, a little bit of scrolling, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And at the end of the day, nothing gets done properly. This scattered focus wastes both time and energy. Here's another benefit of clarity. It teaches you to say no. When you know what your goal is, you can easily reject things that don't align with it. And that's a powerful skill, because life throws a lot at you. Opportunities, distractions, invitations, requests. Some of them are good, but not all of them are right for you. Without clarity, you say yes to everything. You overcommit. You spread yourself thin, and you end up making zero real progress on the things that actually matter. But with clarity, you can say no without guilt. You protect your time. You stay focused on what's truly important. A lot of people say, I don't have time. But really, they don't have clarity. When you lack clarity, everything feels urgent. Nothing feels important. You're just reacting to the loudest voice in the room. But when you have clarity, you can instantly identify what's truly essential and what's just noise. Clarity also reduces stress. Big time. When you don't know what to do, your mind is constantly churning. Should I do this or that? What if I'm wasting my time? What if I'm focusing on the wrong thing? That confusion creates anxiety, and anxiety drains your energy. But when you have a clear plan, your mind is calm. You know you're moving in the right direction. You can relax into your work instead of fighting against it. Now let's talk about how to bring this into your daily life. If you spend just 10 to 15 minutes every day planning, your productivity will skyrocket. I'm not exaggerating. Either at night before bed or first thing in the morning, sit down and decide, what are the 3 to 5 most important tasks I need to accomplish today? Not 20 tasks, not 10, 3 to 5. Focus on those. Everything else is secondary. When you do this, your day feels controlled, organized, intentional. Instead of reacting to whatever happens, you're driving your day forward. And here's the thing. Your clarity doesn't have to be perfect from day one. It's normal to feel confused at first. You might not know exactly what you want or how to get there. That's okay. Clarity improves with action. You don't wait until everything is crystal clear before you start. You start, and clarity comes along the way. So don't use "I'm not sure yet" as an excuse to stay stuck. Start moving. Adjust as you go. Clarity will build itself through experience. One technique that helps a lot. Write things down. When you write your thoughts and goals on paper, they become clearer. Your mind can be vague and messy, but the act of writing forces structure. It organizes the chaos. That's why journaling and planning are so valuable. They externalize your thoughts and make them tangible. There's also an emotional side to clarity. When you know what you're doing and why you're doing it, motivation comes naturally. You don't need external motivation. You don't need someone to pump you up. Your purpose drives you. And when your purpose is strong, discipline becomes easier. You procrastinate less because you understand that every delay is pulling you further from your goal. That awareness alone is enough to push you into action. Let me be clear about something. Control doesn't mean everything goes according to plan. Life is unpredictable, things change, unexpected stuff happens. Control means you're managing your actions and decisions consciously. You're not just drifting through life on autopilot, and that's only possible when you have clarity. If you truly want to improve your life, start with clarity. Ask yourself the hard questions. What do I actually want? What's most important to me right now? Where do I want to be in 5 years? What am I willing to sacrifice to get there? These questions might feel uncomfortable, but they're necessary. Because once you answer them, the fog lifts. You start to see the path forward, and when clarity arrives, you'll notice something shift. You waste less time. Your focus sharpens. You feel more in control of your days. That's when real transformation begins. Without clarity, time management is a struggle. You're constantly fighting against yourself, trying to force productivity that doesn't come naturally. But with clarity, time management becomes effortless. It flows because you're not trying to control time. You're aligning your time with your purpose. So stop chasing control. Start building clarity. Ask yourself, what matters most? What am I working toward? What do I need to do today to move closer to that vision? Answer those questions honestly. Write them down. Review them often. And watch what happens. When your direction is clear, your decisions become easy. Your focus becomes sharp. And your time starts working for you instead of against you. Remember, you can't control time, but you can control how you use it. And that starts with knowing why you're using it in the first place. Clarity is the foundation. Everything else builds on top of it. So before you download another productivity app or read another time management hack, pause. Get clear first. Because once you know where you're going, the how becomes obvious. And that's when your life truly starts to change. Part 2. Continued. The priority problem. Let's talk about something that's quietly destroying your productivity. Treating all tasks like they're equal. Every day, you probably have a dozen things on your plate. Emails to answer, calls to make, projects to work on, errands to run, messages to reply to. And here's what most people do. They try to do everything. They jump from task to task, giving a little bit of attention to each one, never fully committing to anything. By the end of the day, they're exhausted. They've been busy for hours, but when they look back at what they actually accomplished, it's not much. Sound familiar? This happens because we don't prioritize. We don't decide which tasks actually matter and which ones are just filling space. Here's the truth. Not all tasks are created equal. Some tasks will change your life. Learning a valuable skill, building your career, improving your health, strengthening important relationships. Other tasks just keep you busy. Scrolling social media, having pointless conversations, getting distracted by every notification, doing random little things that feel productive but lead nowhere. If you can't tell the difference between these two types of tasks, you'll always be busy but never successful. This is where a critical concept comes in. Focus on what's important, not just what's urgent. There's a big difference between urgent and important. Urgent tasks demand your immediate attention. They're loud. They scream at you. A notification pops up. Someone asks you to do something. A deadline is approaching. Urgent tasks force you to react. But important tasks? They're quiet. They don't scream. They wait patiently for you to notice them. Important tasks are the ones that build your future. They're the investments that pay off months or years down the line. The problem is, urgent tasks are easier to deal with. They're right in front of you. They feel pressing, so we spend all our time on them. Meanwhile, the important tasks, the ones that would actually move our lives forward, get pushed to tomorrow. And tomorrow becomes next week. And next week becomes never. That's why people stay stuck. They're busy all the time, but they're busy with the wrong things. Look at successful people. Really successful people. What do they do differently? They're selective. They don't try to do everything. They don't say yes to every opportunity. They know their time is limited, so they focus only on what truly matters. That's their secret. Not talent, not luck. Ruthless prioritization. Let me give you a scenario. You have 10 tasks in front of you. If you give equal attention to all 10, you spread your energy thin. You make a little progress on everything, but real progress on nothing. But if you identify the 2 or 3 most important tasks and complete those first, your day is already a success. Why? Because you've done the work that actually moves your life forward. Everything else is secondary. Here's a phrase that will change how you think about productivity. Being busy is not the same as being productive. Let me say it again. Being busy is not the same as being productive. Busy is easy. Anyone can be busy. You can fill your entire day with activity and still accomplish nothing meaningful. Productive is intentional. It means your actions are aligned with your goals. It means you're making real progress, not just going through the motions. So here's the question you need to ask yourself every single day. What's the one thing I can do today that will make a real difference in my life? Not 5 things, not 10 things, one thing. When you ask yourself this question daily, your focus automatically shifts toward what's important. Now, prioritizing doesn't mean ignoring everything else. It means doing the important stuff first. Then, if you have time and energy left, you handle the smaller tasks. But most people do it backwards. They tackle the easy, low-value tasks first. And by the time they get to the important work, they're already drained. Here's why that's a mistake. Your energy is limited. You have the most energy and focus early in the day. If you use that peak time for trivial tasks, you're wasting your most valuable hours. But if you invest that time in your most important work, you get the best results. That's smart time management. Do the hard, important stuff when you're fresh. Handle the easy stuff later. Let's talk about distractions for a second. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. Your phone buzzes. An email comes in. Someone sends you a meme. A video autoplays. All of these feel urgent, but they're rarely important. If you respond to every distraction, your entire day disappears. You never get into deep work. You never make real progress. That's why productive people control their environment. They minimize distractions. They turn off notifications. They create space to focus. They understand that focus is their superpower. Here's a practical exercise. Divide your tasks into categories: important and urgent. Important, but not urgent. Urgent, but not important. Neither urgent nor important. When you categorize like this, it becomes obvious where your attention should go. Most of your time should be spent on important tasks, whether they're urgent or not, because those are the tasks that build your future. The urgent but not important stuff, that's mostly noise. Learn to say no to it. And the neither urgent nor important category, that's pure time wasting. Cut it out completely. Over time, you'll develop the skill of recognizing which tasks actually matter. You'll stop getting distracted by shiny objects. You'll become laser focused on what moves the needle. But here's the hard part. Important tasks are usually difficult. They require effort. They require patience. Results don't come immediately. That's why our brains naturally avoid them and gravitate toward easy, enjoyable tasks instead. If you want long-term success, you have to train your mind to prioritize the important over the easy. How? By building habits. Start small. Every morning, write down your top 3 priorities. Make sure the first thing you do is work on one of those 3. No email, no social media, just focused work on what matters. Do this consistently, and it becomes automatic. Here's another powerful idea. Say no to good things, so you can say yes to great things. Life will throw a lot of good opportunities your way. But if you say yes to everything, you'll have no time left for the truly great opportunities. You have to be selective. You have to let go of good so you can make room for great. When you focus on what truly matters, something shifts inside you. You feel more in control. You feel like you're making progress, and that feeling motivates you to keep going. Over time, this becomes part of your identity. You automatically choose tasks that align with your growth. You stop wasting time on things that don't serve you, and that's when real transformation happens. Here's the bottom line. Time is limited, energy is limited, life is limited. You can't do everything, but you can do the right things. So every day, ask yourself, am I spending my time on what truly matters? Not all tasks are equal. Some tasks build your future. Others just fill your time. Choose wisely. Focus deeply. And watch your life start moving in the right direction. Part 3. The Planning Paradox. A lot of people think planning is a waste of time. They believe that if they just dive straight into action, they'll get more done. Planning feels slow. It feels like you're delaying the real work. But here's the irony. Planning actually saves time. It doesn't waste it. Let me explain. Imagine you need to drive somewhere you've never been before. You could just get in your car and start driving, hoping you'll figure it out along the way. At first, it feels like you're making progress. You're moving. You're taking action. But then what happens? You get lost. You take wrong turns. You waste gas driving in circles. What should have been a 30-minute trip turns into 2 hours of frustration. Now imagine you spend 5 minutes before you leave looking at a map. You know exactly which route to take. You avoid the traffic. You make no wrong turns. You arrive quickly and stress-free. That's the difference between acting without a plan and acting with one. The 5 minutes you invested in planning saved you over an hour of wasted time and frustration. The same principle applies to your day. When you start your day without a plan, your mind is reactive. You bounce from one thing to another. Someone sends you a message, you respond. A notification pops up, you check it. A problem appears, you deal with it. You're busy all day, but you're not productive. Your focus is fragmented. Your time is chopped into tiny, useless pieces. And at the end of the day, even though you spent hours working, you haven't accomplished anything meaningful. Now imagine this instead. Before your day begins, you spend 10 to 15 minutes sitting down and deciding what needs to happen today. You identify your 3 to 5 most important tasks. You know which ones are critical and which ones can wait. You have a clear sense of direction. That small act of planning transforms your entire day. Why? Because it eliminates confusion. When you have a plan, you don't waste mental energy wondering what to do next. Your brain is already programmed. You move from task to task with intention and focus. You get more done in less time because you're not constantly deciding, hesitating, or getting distracted. Here's another massive benefit of planning. It reduces stress. When you have a million things swirling around in your head with no structure, your mind feels overwhelmed. Everything feels urgent. Everything feels chaotic. You don't know where to start, so you either freeze or frantically jump between tasks. That's mental overload. And it's exhausting. But when you plan, you organize the chaos. You take everything out of your head and put it on paper. You create order. Suddenly, your mind calms down. You see that it's not as overwhelming as it felt. You have a clear sequence. You can handle things one step at a time. Planning gives you a sense of control, and control reduces anxiety. There's also a psychological benefit. When you know what your day is going to look like, you feel confident. You're not reacting to random situations. You're not at the mercy of whatever happens. You're in the driver's seat. You're acting, not reacting. That's the difference between proactive people and reactive people. Reactive people wake up and let the day happen to them. They respond to emails, interruptions, emergencies. They have no control. They're just along for the ride. Proactive people wake up with a plan. They decide how their day will go. They take control of their time before the day takes control of them. A lot of people say, "I don't have time to plan." But those are exactly the people who need planning the most. If you invest 10 to 15 minutes in planning, you can save yourself hours during the day. You avoid unnecessary tasks. You minimize distractions. You stay focused. The return on investment is massive. Think of it like this. Would you rather spend 15 minutes planning a route and arrive in 30 minutes, or skip the planning, get lost, and spend 2 hours trying to find your way? The choice is obvious. Let me give you a real-life example. Say you need to go grocery shopping, pick up a package, and stop by the bank. If you don't plan your route, you might drive to the grocery store first, then realize the bank is in the opposite direction, so you backtrack. Then you realize the package pickup is near where you started. You end up zigzagging across town, wasting time and fuel. But if you spend 2 minutes planning the most efficient route, bank, package, grocery store, you get everything done in half the time with zero backtracking. Same tasks, half the time, just because you planned. Now, apply that same logic to your workday. Planning isn't just about making a to-do list. It's about deciding when and how you'll do each task. When you assign time blocks to your tasks, your brain prepares for them. You're mentally ready. You don't procrastinate because you've already committed to doing it at that specific time. This structure dramatically improves your efficiency. Here's something interesting. Planning also improves your discipline. When you have a written plan, you're more likely to follow through. It creates accountability. You made a commitment to yourself, and now you have to honor it. Without a plan, it's easy to let things slide. I'll do it later. I don't feel like it right now. Something else came up. But when it's written down and scheduled, you're far more likely to actually do it. Now, let me clarify something important. Planning doesn't mean controlling every single minute of your day. Life is unpredictable. Things change. Unexpected stuff happens. And that's okay. The purpose of planning isn't to be rigid. It's to give yourself direction. Even if your plan changes halfway through the day, you're still better off than if you had no plan at all. Because at least you started with intention. You had a framework to work from. Flexibility is important. But flexibility without direction is just chaos. Here's a simple planning routine that works incredibly well. Either the night before or first thing in the morning, sit down with a notebook or a planner. Ask yourself, what are the 3 to 5 most important things I need to accomplish today? Not 20 things, not a massive, overwhelming list. 3 to 5. Write them down. Put the most important task first. Then, if you want to go a level deeper, assign rough time blocks. I'll work on this from 9 to 11 a.m. I'll handle emails from 11 to 11:30. I'll work on the next task from 12 to 2 p.m. It doesn't have to be perfect, just a rough structure. That's it, 10 to 15 minutes of planning. But the impact on your day is enormous. You wake up knowing exactly what you need to do. No confusion, no decision fatigue, just clear, focused action. One more thing about planning. Don't overload your list. A lot of people make the mistake of writing down everything they wish they could do. The list becomes so long that just looking at it makes them feel defeated. That's counterproductive. Be realistic. Only put down what you can actually accomplish in a day. Focus on quality, not quantity. It's better to complete 3 important tasks than to half finish 10. Planning also teaches you to respect your time. When you consciously decide where your time will go, you become protective of it. You don't waste it on trivial things. You use it with intention. And here's the beautiful part. Over time, planning becomes a habit. At first, it might feel like extra effort. But as you do it regularly, it becomes second nature. You don't even think about it. You just do it automatically. And once it's a habit, you'll notice massive improvements, more clarity, less stress, better results. There's one more powerful benefit I need to mention. Planning helps you avoid distractions. When you have a clear plan, you know what you're supposed to be working on. So when a distraction shows up, a notification, a random idea, someone asking for your time, you can easily say, "Not now, I'm focused on this." But when you don't have a plan, Every distraction feels like a valid option. You have no anchor keeping you on track. So you drift from one thing to another, never finishing anything properly. Planning is that anchor. It also saves your mental energy. Every time you make a decision, it drains a little bit of your willpower. It's called decision fatigue. If you're constantly deciding what to do next throughout the day, you burn through your mental energy fast. By the time you get to important work, you're too drained to focus. But when you plan ahead, you eliminate most of those decisions. You already decided in the morning. Now you just execute. Your mental energy stays intact for the work that actually matters. Now let's talk about consistency. Planning works best when you do it every day, not just once in a while, every single day. One day of planning won't change your life, but daily planning, compounded over weeks and months, will completely transform how you operate. You'll become more organized, more focused, more productive, and most importantly, you'll feel more in control of your life. So here's my challenge to you. Starting today, commit to planning. Every evening before bed or every morning when you wake up, spend 10 to 15 minutes mapping out your day. Ask yourself, what are my top priorities today? What absolutely needs to get done? What can wait? Write it down. Keep it simple. Then follow through. Do this for 30 days straight and watch what happens. You'll notice that you're accomplishing more with less effort. You'll feel less stressed. You'll stop wasting time on things that don't matter. And you'll start building real momentum toward your goals. Remember, a little planning today can save you hours tomorrow. So don't skip it. Sit down. Think clearly. Make a simple plan. Then take action with full focus. This small habit can create a massive difference in your life. Planning isn't about being perfect. It's about being intentional. And when you're intentional with your time, everything changes. Part 3. Continued. Focus beats multitasking. Let's talk about one of the biggest productivity myths of our time, multitasking. We live in a culture that glorifies doing multiple things at once. People brag about it. I can juggle 5 projects simultaneously. I'm great at multitasking. And we've been led to believe that multitasking makes you more productive. It doesn't. In fact, multitasking makes you less productive. It scatters your focus, drains your energy, and lowers the quality of your work. Here's the truth. Your brain can't actually do multiple things at once, at least not complex tasks that require real focus. What you think is multitasking is actually something called task switching. You're rapidly jumping from one thing to another, and every time you switch, there's a cost. Your focus breaks. Your brain has to reorient. You lose momentum, and it takes time to get back into the flow. Let me give you an example. You're working on an important project. Then you check your phone. You see a message and reply. Then you go back to your project. But now you have to reread what you were working on. You have to remember where you left off. You have to rebuild your focus. A few minutes later, another notification. You check it, reply, switch back. This happens over and over throughout the day. You feel busy. You feel like you're getting things done. But in reality, you're fragmenting your attention so much that you're barely making progress on anything. And at the end of the day, you're exhausted. Why? Because task switching burns mental energy. Every time you switch, your brain works harder to refocus. It's like doing mental push-ups all day. You're tired, but you didn't actually accomplish much. Compare that to someone who works in deep focus. They pick one task. They eliminate distractions. They work on that one thing for an uninterrupted block of time, maybe 90 minutes, maybe 2 hours. During that time, they're fully immersed. They're not checking their phone. They're not thinking about emails. They're completely absorbed in the work. This state is called deep work, and it's where your best performance happens. When you work in deep focus, you enter a flow state. Time disappears. Distractions fade. You're operating at your highest level of cognitive ability. This is when you do your most creative thinking. This is when you solve complex problems. This is when you produce your best work. And here's a kicker. You can accomplish in 2 hours of deep work what would take you 6 hours of distracted, multitasking work. That's the power of focus. Successful people understand this. They don't try to do everything at once. They focus intensely on one thing, finish it, then move to the next. That's how they get so much done while still having time to rest. Now let's talk about the damage multitasking does to your attention span. When you constantly switch between tasks and distractions, your brain gets trained to have a short attention span. Over time, you lose the ability to focus deeply on anything. Even simple tasks become hard because your mind keeps wandering. This is a huge problem in today's world. We're surrounded by things designed to grab our attention. Notifications, social media, messages, videos. If you don't actively protect your focus, it will get shredded into 1,000 pieces. So, what do? You control your environment. When you need to do important work, remove the distractions. Put your phone in another room. Close unnecessary tabs on your computer. Turn off notifications. Create a space where you can focus without interruptions. This sounds simple, but most people don't do it. They try to work with distractions all around them and wonder why they can't focus. Your environment shapes your behavior. If you want to focus, design an environment that supports focus. Here's a technique that works incredibly well: single tasking. It means doing one thing at a time, fully committing to that one task until it's done. No switching, no multitasking, just pure focused work. At first, this might feel uncomfortable. Your brain is used to jumping around. It craves novelty and stimulation, but with practice it gets easier, and the results are worth it. Start small. Set a timer for 25 to 30 minutes. During that time, work on one task and nothing else. When the timer goes off, take a 5-minute break. Then do another session. This is called the Pomodoro technique, and it's one of the simplest ways to build deep focus. Over time, you can extend your focus sessions. 45 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes. The more you practice, the stronger your focus becomes. And here's what happens. You start getting more done in less time. You feel less stressed. You produce better work. And you actually enjoy the process more, because there's something deeply satisfying about finishing a task completely, about giving something your full attention and seeing it through to the end. Multitasking robs you of that satisfaction. You're always half engaged, never fully present. Nothing ever feels complete. But when you single task, you get to experience the joy of completion, and that feeling motivates you to keep going. There's also an emotional benefit to focus. When you're fully present in what you're doing, you feel calmer, more centered, less anxious. Multitasking creates mental chaos. Focus creates mental clarity. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but I have so many things to do. I don't have time to focus on just one thing. I get it. Life is busy. There are a lot of demands on your time. But here's the paradox. The more you try to do at once, the less you actually accomplish. When you focus on one thing at a time, you finish faster and with better quality, which means you actually get through more tasks overall. Focus isn't about doing less. It's about doing things properly. Let me put it this way. Would you rather spend 8 hours multitasking and barely finish anything, or spend 4 hours in focused work and complete everything on your list? The choice is obvious. Multitasking might look impressive from the outside, but deep focus creates real results. And at the end of the day, results are what matter. So here's my advice. Stop glorifying multitasking. Start valuing focus. Train your brain to stay with one task until it's done. Eliminate distractions. Protect your attention like the precious resource it is. Because in a world full of distractions, the ability to focus is your superpower. Master it, and you'll outperform almost everyone around you. Remember, multitasking might look impressive, but deep focus creates real results. So slow down. Choose one task. Give it your full attention. And watch how your work and your life start improving. Part 4. The hidden cost of distraction. Let's talk about something that's silently stealing your future. Distraction. Not the obvious kind, like watching Netflix all day. I'm talking about the subtle, sneaky distractions that you don't even notice. The ones that feel harmless. The ones you justify. I'm just checking my phone for a second. I'll just watch one quick video. Let me just see what's happening on social media. 5 minutes turns into 20. 20 turns into an hour. And before you know it, half your day is gone. This is the hidden cost of distraction. It doesn't feel like you're wasting time because it happens in small increments. But those increments add up fast. And here's the worst part. You don't even realize how much it's costing you until it's too late. Let me break down what actually happens when you get distracted. Say you're working on something important. You're in flow. You're making progress. Then your phone buzzes. Just a notification. You tell yourself, I'll just check it real quick. It's only going to take 5 seconds, right? Wrong. You pick up your phone, you see the notification, it's a message from a friend. You reply. While you're there, you notice you have a few other notifications. You check those too. Then you see an interesting post. You read it, you watch a video, you scroll a bit. 10 minutes later, you finally put your phone down. Now you have to get back to work. But here's the problem. You're not in flow anymore. Your focus is broken. You have to reread what you were working on. You have to remember where you left off. You have to rebuild your concentration. That takes another 5 to 10 minutes. So what started as just 5 seconds actually cost you 20 minutes. And this happens multiple times throughout the day. Do the math. If this happens 5 times a day, you've lost nearly 2 hours. If it happens 10 times, you've lost half your workday, all from just checking your phone for a second. This is why distraction is so dangerous. It's not just the time you spend distracted, it's the time it takes to recover your focus afterward. Scientists call this the switching cost. Every time you switch your attention from one thing to another, there's a cognitive penalty. Your brain has to work harder to refocus. And if you're constantly switching, Between work and your phone, between tasks and social media, between focus and distraction, you're paying that penalty all day long. No wonder you feel exhausted, even though you didn't accomplish much. Now let's talk about the biggest source of distraction in modern life, your smartphone. I'm not here to demonize technology. Phones are incredible tools. They connect us. They give us access to unlimited information. They can help us be more productive. But, and this is a big but, if you don't control your phone, it will control you. Think about it. How many times a day do you pick up your phone without even thinking about it? You're not checking anything specific. You're just picking it up. It's become a reflex, a habit, an automatic response to boredom, anxiety, or even just having a free moment. Studies show that the average person checks their phone over 80 times a day. 80 times. That's once every 12 minutes during waking hours, and each time you check, you're interrupting whatever you were doing. You're breaking your focus. You're feeding the distraction cycle. This constant interruption doesn't just waste time. It rewires your brain. Your brain starts craving those little hits of novelty and stimulation. It becomes harder to focus on anything that requires sustained attention. You develop what's called continuous partial attention, where you're always half focused on multiple things, but never fully focused on anything. And that makes deep work nearly impossible. Here's another insidious thing about smartphone distraction. It's invisible. When someone wastes 3 hours watching TV, they know they wasted 3 hours. It's obvious. But when you waste 3 hours on your phone, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, scattered throughout the day, it doesn't feel like 3 hours. It feels like nothing. That's why people say, I don't even use my phone that much, and then check their screen time report and realize they're spending 4 to 6 hours a day on it. The distraction is hidden, but the cost is very real. So what do you do about it? First, you have to get honest with yourself. Track your phone usage for a week. Most phones have built-in screen time trackers. Use them. Don't judge yourself. Just observe. See where your time is actually going. You might be shocked. Most people are. Once you see the reality, you can start making changes. Here are some practical strategies. Turn off non-essential notifications. Do you really need to know the instant someone likes your photo? Probably not. Turn off everything except calls and messages from important people. Put your phone in another room when you're working. Out of sight, out of mind. If your phone isn't within arm's reach, you're far less likely to pick it up mindlessly. Set specific times for checking social media. Instead of checking it randomly throughout the day, designate 2 or 3 specific times, maybe 12 p.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Stick to those times. Use grayscale mode. This makes your phone screen black and white instead of color. It sounds silly, but it works. Color screens are designed to be visually stimulating. Grayscale makes your phone way less appealing, which reduces the urge to use it. Delete apps that waste your time. If you find yourself mindlessly scrolling Instagram or TikTok for hours, delete the app. You can still access it through a browser if you really need to, but the extra friction makes it less automatic. These are small changes, but they have a massive impact. Because here's the thing, willpower alone won't save you from distraction. You can't rely on discipline to resist your phone when it's constantly buzzing and beeping at you. You have to design your environment to support focus. You have to remove the temptation, not just resist it. Now let's zoom out and talk about distraction more broadly. It's not just your phone. It's anything that pulls you away from what actually matters. It could be saying yes to every social invitation when you need time to work on your goals. It could be binge watching shows every night instead of building a skill. It could be spending hours reading news that doesn't affect your life instead of working on projects that do. Distraction comes in many forms, and it all adds up. Here's a useful question to ask yourself. Is this moving me toward my goals, or is it just filling time? If it's filling time, it's a distraction. And you need to cut it out or minimize it. I'm not saying you should never relax or have fun. Rest is important. Enjoyment is important. You're a human being, not a productivity machine. But there's a difference between intentional rest and mindless distraction. Intentional rest is when you consciously decide to take a break. You watch a movie you've been wanting to see. You hang out with friends. You go for a walk. You recharge. Mindless distraction is when you're just killing time. Scrolling, clicking, consuming. Not because you're enjoying it, but because you're avoiding something else. One restores you, the other drains you. Learn to tell the difference. Another form of distraction that people don't talk about enough. Other people's priorities. Someone asks you to help with their project. Someone invites you to an event. Someone wants your time and attention. These aren't always bad things. But if you say yes to everyone, you'll have no time left for yourself. You'll spend your entire life helping other people achieve their goals while making zero progress on your own. That's a subtle but devastating form of distraction. This is where boundaries come in. You have to protect your time. You have to learn to say no, not rudely, not selfishly, but firmly. I appreciate the invitation, but I have other commitments. I'd love to help, but I'm focused on something else right now. That sounds great, but it's not a priority for me at the moment. You don't owe everyone your time. You don't owe everyone an explanation. Your time is yours. Guard it. Here's something that might sound harsh, but needs to be said. Most distractions are a choice. You choose to pick up your phone. You choose to watch another episode. You choose to scroll. You choose to say yes when you should say no. I know. It doesn't always feel like a choice. It feels automatic. It feels like it just happens. But that's because you've built habits around distraction, and habits feel automatic. The good news? You can build new habits. Every time you feel the urge to get distracted, pause. Notice the urge. Then consciously choose to stay focused. It's hard at first. Your brain will resist. It wants the easy dopamine hit that comes from distraction. But if you practice this, just pausing and choosing focus, it gets easier. Your brain adapts. And over time, focus becomes the new default. Let me share something that helped me personally. I started treating my focus like a muscle. Just like you can't lift heavy weights without training, you can't maintain deep focus without practice. So I started with short focus sessions. 20 minutes of uninterrupted work. No phone, no distractions, just 20 minutes. At first it was hard. My mind wandered. I felt restless. But I kept doing it. Every day, 20 minutes became 30. 30 became 60. And eventually, I could focus deeply for 2 or 3 hours straight. That skill, the ability to focus, is one of the most valuable things I've ever developed. Because in a world where everyone is distracted, the person who can focus has a massive advantage. They learn faster, they work smarter, they produce better results, and they do it all in less time. Focus is a superpower, and like any superpower, it requires training. Here's one more thing to consider. Distraction isn't just about wasted time. It's about wasted potential. Every hour you spend distracted is an hour you could have spent building something meaningful, learning something valuable, creating something that lasts. When you're old and looking back on your life, you won't remember the hours you spent scrolling. You won't remember the random videos you watched or the pointless arguments you had online. But you will remember the things you built, the skills you developed, the goals you achieved, and you'll regret the time you wasted. Don't let distraction steal your future. It's too precious. Starting today, take control. Identify your biggest sources of distraction. Make a plan to eliminate or minimize them. Protect your focus like your life depends on it. Because in a way, it does. Your life is the sum of what you pay attention to. If you pay attention to distractions, you get a distracted life. But if you pay attention to what truly matters, you build a life that matters. The choice is yours. Choose wisely. Energy management matters more than time management. Here's something most productivity advice gets wrong. It focuses on time management, but ignores energy management. And that's a huge mistake. Because you can have all the time in the world, but if you don't have energy, you won't get anything done. Think about it. Have you ever had a completely free day? No meetings, no obligations, nothing on your schedule, but you felt so drained that you couldn't bring yourself to do anything productive? You had the time, but you didn't have the energy. That's the difference. Time is finite. You can't create more of it. But energy? Energy can be managed, restored, and optimized. And when you learn to manage your energy effectively, you get far more out of the time you have. Let's start with a basic truth. Not all hours are created equal. You might work for 8 hours, but that doesn't mean you're productive for 8 hours. In reality, you probably have 3 to 4 hours of peak energy during the day. Hours when your focus is sharp, your thinking is clear, and your creativity is flowing. The rest of the day, your energy is lower. You can still work, but you're operating at maybe 50 or 60% capacity. So here's the critical question. What are you doing during your peak energy hours? If you're using that time to answer emails, attend low-value meetings, or scroll social media, you're wasting your most valuable resource. Your peak hours should be reserved for your most important work, the work that requires deep thinking, the work that moves the needle, the work that actually matters. Everything else, emails, admin tasks, routine stuff, that can be done during your low-energy hours. This is called energy alignment, and it's one of the simplest ways to dramatically increase your productivity. Most people do the opposite. They waste their peak hours on trivial tasks and then try to do important work when they're already tired. No wonder they struggle. So how do you figure out when your peak energy hours are? Pay attention. Track your energy levels over a week or two. Notice when you feel most alert and focused. For most people, it's in the morning, a few hours after waking up. But everyone's different. Some people are night owls. Some people have an energy spike after lunch. Find your pattern. Then structure your day around it. Now let's talk about what drains your energy. Obvious things drain energy. Poor sleep, bad diet, lack of exercise, too much stress. But there are also hidden energy drains that most people don't notice. Decision fatigue. Every decision you make, no matter how small, uses mental energy. This is why successful people automate as many decisions as possible. Steve Jobs wore the same outfit every day. Mark Zuckerberg does too. Not because they lack style, but because they don't want to waste mental energy on clothing choices. You can do the same. Plan your meals for the week. Lay out your clothes the night before. Create routines that eliminate unnecessary decisions. Context switching. As we talked about earlier, switching between tasks drains energy. Every time you switch, your brain has to reorient. That's exhausting. Batch similar tasks together. Do all your emails at once. Make all your phone calls at once. This reduces switching and conserves energy. Toxic people. Some people energize you, others drain you. You know the type. After spending time with them, you feel exhausted. They complain constantly. They're negative. They dump their problems on you without offering anything in return. Minimize time with energy vampires. Maximize time with people who inspire and uplift you. Clutter. A messy environment creates mental clutter. Your brain has to process all that visual noise, which drains energy without you realizing it. Clean your workspace. Declutter your surroundings. You'll be amazed at how much clearer you can think. Now let's talk about how to restore energy. Sleep. This is non-negotiable. You can't out-hustle bad sleep. If you're only getting 5 or 6 hours a night, you're operating at a fraction of your potential. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep. Movement. Exercise isn't just about fitness, it's about energy. A 20-minute walk can completely reset your mental state. Regular exercise increases your overall energy levels throughout the day. Nutrition. What you eat affects how you feel. Heavy processed foods make you sluggish. Lean proteins, vegetables, and healthy fats keep your energy stable. Pay attention to how different foods affect you. Breaks. You can't work at full intensity for 8 hours straight. Your brain needs breaks to recover. Work in focused sprints, 60 to 90 minutes. Then take a 10 to 15-minute break. Walk around, stretch, look away from screens. Let your mind rest. Nature. Spending time outside, especially in green spaces, restores mental energy. Even just looking at nature through a window has been shown to improve focus. Here's something counterintuitive. Sometimes the best way to get more done is to rest more. When you're exhausted, everything takes longer. Your thinking is slow. Your decision-making is poor. You make mistakes. You have to redo work. But when you're well rested, you work faster and smarter. You make better decisions. You catch problems before they become bigger issues. 1 hour of focused work when you're energized is worth 3 hours of distracted work when you're drained. Quality over quantity. Always. This is why the whole hustle culture mentality is flawed. It glorifies working 16-hour days and sacrificing sleep. But that's not sustainable. You might be able to do it for a week or two, but then you crash. And the work you produce during those exhausted hours, it's usually mediocre. Compare that to someone who works 6 focused hours with high energy. They'll outperform the exhausted 16-hour grinder every single time. Smart work beats hard work. Here's another energy principle. Start your day with momentum. The first hour of your day sets the tone for everything that follows. If you start strong, you carry that energy forward. If you start weak, you're playing catch-up all day. So don't check your phone first thing in the morning. Don't dive into emails or social media. Those are reactive activities. They put you in a reactive mindset. Instead, start with something proactive. Exercise, meditation, journaling, working on your most important task. Win the first hour, and you'll likely win the day. Let's also talk about the energy of saying no. Every time you say yes to something, you're spending energy. Not just in doing the thing, but in thinking about it, preparing for it, and following through. If you say yes to everything, you spread your energy too thin. You have nothing left for what really matters. But when you say no to things that don't serve you, you conserve energy for the things that do. This is hard. Saying no feels uncomfortable. You don't want to disappoint people. You don't want to miss out. But here's the truth. You can't do everything. And trying to do everything is a guaranteed way to burn out. Protect your energy. Say no more often. Your future self will thank you. One more thing. Manage your emotional energy. Negative emotions, stress, anxiety, anger, resentment drain massive amounts of energy. You can feel it physically. After a stressful argument or a day of worrying, you're wiped out. Positive emotions, gratitude, joy, excitement, love, restore energy. They lift you up. So pay attention to what you're feeding your mind. Are you consuming negative news all day, complaining constantly, dwelling on problems? Or are you focusing on solutions, practicing gratitude, surrounding yourself with positivity? Your emotional state directly affects your energy levels. Here's the bottom line. Time management is important, but energy management is more important. You can't control time, but you can control your energy. Sleep well, eat well, move your body, eliminate energy drains, protect your peak hours, take breaks, say no to what doesn't matter. Do these things, and you'll get more done in less time, with less stress and more satisfaction. Because productivity isn't about working more hours. It's about working with more energy during the hours you have. Master your energy, and you'll master your time. Part 5. The compound effect of small actions. There's a concept that most people underestimate, and it's costing them years of progress. It's called the compound effect. You've probably heard about compound interest in finance. You invest a small amount of money, and over time, it grows exponentially. Not because you're adding huge sums, but because your returns start generating their own returns. The same principle applies to your life. Small actions, repeated consistently over time, create extraordinary results. But here's the problem. Most people don't believe it. They want big results fast. They want the shortcut, the hack, the overnight success. So they ignore the small daily actions because they don't seem to matter. They don't see immediate results, so they assume it's not working. And that's where they fail. Let me give you an example. Say you decide to read for just 15 minutes a day. That's it. 1/4 of an hour. It doesn't sound like much, right? You're not going to finish a book in one day. You're not going to become a genius overnight. But here's what happens over time. 15 minutes a day is about 20 pages, depending on the book. 20 pages a day is 140 pages a week. That's roughly 600 pages a month. Most books are around 300 pages, so in 1 month, you've read 2 full books. In a year, 24 books. Now compare yourself to someone who doesn't read at all. After 1 year, You've consumed 24 books worth of knowledge, insights, and ideas. They've consumed 0. Who do you think is going to be further ahead? That's the compound effect. The difference between you and them isn't talent. It isn't luck. It's 15 minutes a day repeated consistently. The same principle applies to everything. 15 minutes of exercise a day doesn't transform your body overnight. But after 6 months, you're stronger, healthier, more energetic. After a year, you're in the best shape of your life. 10 minutes of learning a new skill every day doesn't make you an expert in a week. But after a year, you've put in over 60 hours of practice. That's enough to become competent, maybe even proficient. 5 minutes of meditation a day doesn't cure your anxiety immediately. But after 3 months, you're noticeably calmer. You handle stress better. Your mind is clearer. Small actions compound. But here's the flip side. Small negative actions also compound. If you waste 30 minutes a day scrolling social media, that's 3.5 hours a week, 15 hours a month, 180 hours a year. That's 4.5 full work weeks gone, wasted on nothing. If you eat fast food twice a week, it doesn't seem like a big deal. But over a year, that's over 100 meals of processed junk going into your body. Your health declines slowly. You gain weight. You lose energy. If you skip the gym just this once every week, it adds up. 52 workouts missed in a year. That's a massive difference in your fitness. Small negative actions compound just as powerfully as small positive ones. And here's the scary part. You don't notice it happening. The decline is gradual. Day by day, you feel about the same. You don't see the damage being done until one day you look in the mirror and barely recognize yourself. Or you check your bank account and wonder where all the money went. Or you realize you've been stuck in the same place for years. That's the dark side of the compound effect. The good news? Once you understand this principle, you can use it to your advantage. You don't need to make massive changes. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. You just need to start making small positive choices consistently. Let me break down how to apply this in real life. Step 1. Identify the small actions that align with your goals. If your goal is to get healthy, the small action might be drinking more water, going for a 10-minute walk, or replacing one unhealthy snack with a healthy one. If your goal is financial freedom, the small action might be saving 10% of your income, learning about investing for 15 minutes a day, or cutting out one unnecessary expense. If your goal is career growth, the small action might be learning a high-value skill for 30 minutes a day, networking with one new person a week, or volunteering for challenging projects at work. These actions seem insignificant on their own, but they're not. They're seeds, and with time and consistency, they grow. Step 2. Make it so small you can't say no. One of the biggest mistakes people make is setting goals that are too ambitious. They get excited and go all in. I'm going to work out for 2 hours every day. I'm going to read 3 books a week. I'm going to save 50% of my income. That lasts about a week. Then life gets busy, motivation fades, and they quit. Instead, start ridiculously small. So small it feels almost pointless. Want to build a reading habit? Start with 5 minutes a day, not 30, not an hour, 5. Want to start exercising? Do 5 push-ups. That's it, not a full workout, just 5 push-ups. Want to save money? Start with $5 a week. Why? Because the goal isn't to achieve massive results on day one. The goal is to build the habit, to show up consistently. Once the habit is established, you can increase the intensity. But in the beginning, focus on consistency over intensity. Step 3. Track your progress. What gets measured gets managed. When you track your small actions, you create accountability. You see your streak building. You don't want to break it. Use a simple habit tracker. Put an X on the calendar every day you complete your small action. After a few weeks, you'll have a chain of X's. Your only job is to not break the chain. This visual reminder is incredibly powerful. It keeps you motivated even when you don't feel like doing it. Step 4. Trust the process. This is the hardest part because the results won't be immediate. You won't see dramatic changes after a week or even a month. You have to trust that the compound effect is working even when you can't see it yet. Think of it like planting a tree. You plant the seed, water it, and take care of it every day. For weeks, maybe months, you see nothing. It feels like nothing's happening. But underground, roots are growing. The foundation is being built. Then one day, a tiny sprout appears. And once it starts growing above ground, it grows fast. Your small daily actions are like watering that seed. You might not see the sprout yet, but it's coming. You just have to keep watering. Let me share a personal story. A few years ago, I wanted to improve my writing, but I wasn't a natural writer. I struggled to put thoughts into words. My first drafts were terrible. I could have given up, but instead, I committed to writing for just 20 minutes a day, no matter what, even if it was garbage. For the first 3 months, my writing was still bad. I didn't see much improvement. It was frustrating, but I kept going. After 6 months, I started noticing small improvements. My sentences flowed better. My ideas were clearer. After a year, people started complimenting my writing. Opportunities opened up. I started getting paid to write, all because I showed up for 20 minutes a day. That's the compound effect in action. Now let's talk about consistency versus intensity. A lot of people believe that intensity is what matters. They think that if they just push really hard for a short period, they'll get results. So they go all out for a week. They burn themselves out. Then they quit. But here's the truth. Consistency beats intensity every single time. It's better to work out moderately 3 times a week for a year than to work out intensely every day for a month and then stop. It's better to save a small amount every week for 10 years than to save a large amount for 6 months and then give up. It's better to learn a little bit every day than to cram for a weekend and forget everything a week later. Consistency is the key that unlocks the compound effect. And the beautiful thing about consistency, it builds momentum. When you do something every day, it gets easier. It becomes automatic. It becomes part of who you are. You stop relying on motivation. You stop making excuses. You just do it. Because that's what you do. That's when transformation happens. Here's another critical insight. The compound effect works both ways, forward and backward. If you're consistent with positive actions, you move forward. Slowly at first, then faster and faster. But if you're consistent with negative actions, you move backward, slowly at first, then faster and faster. Most people are unconsciously consistent with negative habits. They mindlessly scroll every day. They eat junk food regularly. They avoid exercise. They procrastinate on important tasks. And because these actions are small, they don't notice the damage until years later when they realize they're in a bad place. The solution? Replace bad small actions with good small actions. Instead of scrolling for 20 minutes in the morning, read for 20 minutes. Instead of hitting snooze 3 times, wake up on the first alarm and do a quick stretch. Instead of ordering takeout 4 nights a week, cook at home 3 nights a week. Instead of complaining about your situation, take one small action to improve it. These swaps seem minor, but compounded over time, they completely change the trajectory of your life. Let me give you a framework for applying the compound effect. Morning routine. Start your day with 3 small positive actions. Maybe it's drinking water, doing 5 minutes of stretching, and reading 1 page. Work routine. Spend the first 30 minutes of your workday on your most important task. No email, no distractions, just focused work. Evening routine. End your day with reflection. Write down 3 things you're grateful for. Review what you accomplished. Plan tomorrow. These routines take less than an hour total, but they set you up for massive long-term success. Here's the final piece. Patience. The compound effect requires patience. And in a world obsessed with instant gratification, patience is rare, but it's also your competitive advantage. While everyone else is chasing quick wins and giving up when they don't see immediate results, you're quietly building day by day, week by week, month by month, and one day, maybe 6 months from now, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, people will look at you and think you got lucky. That success just happened to you. They won't see the hundreds of small actions you took every single day. They won't see the discipline, the consistency, the patience. But you'll know that it wasn't luck. It was the compound effect. So here's my challenge to you. Choose one small action today. Something so small, it feels almost pointless. And commit to doing it every day for the next 90 days. Don't try to change everything at once. Just one thing. Do it every day. Track it, trust the process, and in 90 days, come back and reflect. I guarantee you'll be amazed at the difference, because small actions, repeated consistently, create extraordinary results. That's not a theory. It's a law. And once you understand this law, your entire life changes. You stop looking for shortcuts. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You stop making excuses. You just show up every single day, and you do the work. Because you know that every small action is an investment in your future, and over time, those investments compound into something incredible. Systems beat goals. Let's talk about goals for a minute. Everyone tells you to set goals. You need clear goals. Write down your goals. Visualize your goals. And goals are important. They give you direction. They help you know where you're going. But here's what most people don't understand. Goals are not enough. In fact, focusing too much on goals can actually hold you back. Let me explain. When you set a goal, let's say, I want to lose 20 pounds, you're focused on the outcome, the end result, the destination, and that's fine. But here's the problem. You don't have direct control over outcomes. You can't just will yourself to lose 20 pounds. You can't force your body to shed weight just because you want it to. What you can control is your behavior, your daily actions, your systems. And that's where most people go wrong. They focus all their energy on a goal and neglect the system that would actually get them there. Let me give you a better approach. Forget about goals. Build systems instead. A system is a repeatable process. It's a set of daily habits and routines that, when followed consistently, lead to the outcome you want. For example, instead of setting a goal to lose 20 pounds, build a system around health. Eat whole foods. Exercise 4 times a week. Get 8 hours of sleep. Drink plenty of water. Instead of setting a goal to make 6 figures, build a system around value creation. Learn high-income skills. Network consistently. Deliver exceptional work. Increase your rates over time. Instead of setting a goal to write a book, build a system around writing. Write 500 words every day. No exceptions. See the difference? Goals are about the outcome. Systems are about the process. And here's the key insight. If you focus on the system and follow it consistently, the goal takes care of itself. You don't have to obsess over the number on the scale if you're following a solid health system. The weight will come off naturally. You don't have to stress about hitting 6 figures if you're consistently delivering value and building skills. The income will increase naturally. You don't have to worry about finishing the book if you write every day. The book will get done naturally. This shift in mindset is incredibly liberating because when you focus only on goals, you're constantly judging yourself based on whether you've achieved them yet. And if you haven't, you feel like a failure. But when you focus on systems, you judge yourself based on whether you followed your process today. And that's entirely within your control. Did you eat healthy today? Yes. Success. Did you write 500 words today? Yes. Success. Did you work on your skill development for 30 minutes today? Yes. Success. Every day you get to feel successful because every day you followed your system. And over time, those daily successes compound into the big outcome you wanted. Here's another benefit of systems. They're sustainable. Goals have a finish line. Once you achieve them, the motivation often disappears. You hit your target weight, then slowly gain it back. You reach your income goal, then plateau. You finish the book, then stop writing. But systems don't have a finish line. They're ongoing. They become part of your identity. You're not someone who's trying to lose weight. You're someone who eats healthy and exercises regularly. That's who you are. You're not someone who's trying to hit 6 figures. You're someone who constantly improves and delivers value. That's who you are. You're not someone who's trying to write a book. You're a writer. That's who you are. When your identity shifts like this, the behavior becomes automatic. You don't have to force it. It's just what you do. Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying goals are bad. Goals give you direction. They help you choose which systems to build. But once you've chosen your direction, shift your focus to the system. Trust the process. Let the goal take care of itself. Here's how to build an effective system. Step 1. Define the outcome you want. Be specific. Not, I want to be successful, but I want to build a business that generates $10,000 a month in revenue. Step 2. Reverse engineer the daily actions that lead to that outcome. What would someone who already has a $10,000 a month business do every day? Maybe they spend 2 hours a day on sales and marketing. Maybe they invest in learning and skill development. Maybe they network with potential clients. Maybe they create valuable content. List out those actions. Step 3. Turn those actions into a daily routine. This is your system. It's non-negotiable. You do it every day, whether you feel like it or not. Step 4. Measure your adherence to the system, not the outcome. At the end of each day, ask yourself, did I follow my system today? If yes, you succeeded, even if the big outcome hasn't arrived yet. If no, reflect on why. What got in the way? How can you adjust for tomorrow? This approach removes the anxiety of, am I there yet? And replaces it with the clarity of, did I do the work today? Let me give you a real-world example. Say you want to become a better public speaker. The goal approach would be, I want to give a TED Talk in 1 year. The system approach would be, I will practice speaking for 15 minutes every day. I will join a public speaking group and speak at least once a week. I will watch and analyze one great speech every week. I will volunteer for every speaking opportunity that comes up. Which approach is more likely to succeed? The system, because it focuses on building the skill, not just achieving a single outcome. And here's the beautiful part. If you follow that system for a year, you might not give a TED Talk, but you'll be such a skilled speaker that opportunities will come to you naturally. Maybe something even better than a TED Talk. The system delivers results, often better results than you imagined. Another advantage of systems, they're adaptable. Goals are rigid. If you set a goal to make $100,000 this year and you only make $80,000, you feel like you failed. But systems are flexible. If your system isn't producing the results you want, you can tweak it. You can experiment. You can adjust. Maybe you need to add another daily action. Maybe you need to change your approach. Maybe you need to cut something that's not working. The system gives you room to iterate and improve. Here's a mistake a lot of people make. They build a system, follow it for 2 weeks, don't see immediate results, and give up. Remember, systems work over time. You have to trust the process. If you're following a solid system, one that's based on proven principles, the results will come. It just might take longer than you expect. And that's okay, because every day you follow the system, you're improving, even if you can't see it yet. Think of it like working out. If you lift weights consistently for a month, you won't look like a bodybuilder, but your muscles are getting stronger, your body is changing at a cellular level. The visible results come later, but the work is happening now. Same with systems. The visible results might take months, but the foundation is being built every single day. So be patient, trust your system, and keep showing up. Here's one final insight. The best systems are simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't create a 15-step morning routine that takes 3 hours. Don't try to build 10 new habits at once. Start simple. 3 to 5 daily actions that move you toward your goal. Master those first. Make them automatic. Then, if you want, add more. But simplicity is key, because simple systems are sustainable. And sustainability is what creates long-term success. So, here's your action step. Pick one area of your life you want to improve. Maybe it's health, wealth, relationships, or personal growth. Define the outcome you want. Then reverse engineer the daily actions that will get you there. Turn those actions into a simple system. Write it down. Commit to following it for 90 days. Don't judge yourself based on whether you've achieved the outcome yet. Judge yourself based on whether you followed your system today. Do this, and I promise, the outcome will take care of itself. Because systems beat goals every single time. Part 6. The time is now. Let's talk about something uncomfortable, something most people avoid thinking about until it's too late. The fact that your time is running out. I know. That sounds dramatic, morbid even, but stay with me, because this truth, this unavoidable reality, is also the most powerful motivator you'll ever have. You're going to die someday. I'm going to die. Everyone you know's going to die. That's not pessimism. That's just reality. And when you really internalize that fact, when you truly accept it, everything changes. Because once you understand that your time is finite, you stop wasting it on things that don't matter. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You stop making excuses. You stop putting off the life you want to live. You start taking action. Now. Today. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Not when you feel ready. Now. Here's what most people do. They live as if they have unlimited time. They say things like, I'll start working on my goals next year. I'll travel when I retire. I'll spend more time with family once things calm down at work. They keep postponing the things that matter, assuming there will always be time later. But here's the brutal truth. There might not be a later. You don't know how much time you have. None of us do. You could have 50 years left, or you could have 5 or 5 months. You don't know. And that uncertainty should wake you up. It should make you realize that every single day you're alive is a gift, and wasting that gift on things that don't matter is the biggest tragedy of all. Steve Jobs said it perfectly. Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. When you remember that your time is limited, you stop being afraid. You stop worrying about what other people think. You stop playing it safe. Because what's the worst that can happen? You fail. You get judged. So what? You're going to die anyway. Might as well take the shot. Might as well live the life you actually want instead of the one you think you're supposed to live. Now, I'm not saying you should be reckless, or that you should quit your job tomorrow and move to Bali without a plan. What I'm saying is this: stop waiting. Whatever it is you want to do, start it now. Not when you have more money, not when you have more time, not when you feel more confident. Now. Because someday is not a day of the week, and later has a tendency to turn into never. Let me share something with you. A few years ago, I had a friend. Let's call him David. David was talented, smart, full of potential. He had this dream of starting his own business. He talked about it all the time. I'm going to do it, he'd say. Just not yet. I need to save more money first. I need to learn a few more things. I need to wait for the right time. So he waited and waited and waited. He kept his job, kept saving, kept planning. But he never actually started. Then out of nowhere, he got sick. Cancer, aggressive. By the time they caught it, it was too late. He died 6 months later. He was 37 years old, and he never started that business. I think about David a lot, about all the potential he had, all the things he could have done if he'd just started sooner. He was waiting for the perfect moment, but the perfect moment never came, and now he's out of time. I'm not telling you this to depress you. I'm telling you this to wake you up. Because the same thing could happen to any of us. Life is unpredictable. You think you have all the time in the world, and then suddenly you don't. So please, whatever it is you've been putting off, don't wait any longer. You want to start a business? Start it. You want to write a book? Write it. You want to travel? Book the flight. You want to repair a broken relationship? Pick up the phone? You want to learn a new skill? Start today. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the right time. Stop waiting for confidence. Just start. Messy action is better than perfect inaction. Here's another thing people don't realize. The cost of inaction compounds over time. Every day you don't start is a day of progress lost, a day you can never get back. If you wait a year to start your business, that's a year of learning, growing, and building that you've lost. You'll be 1 year behind where you could have been. If you wait 5 years to take care of your health, that's 5 years of damage to undo. 5 years of energy and vitality you'll never get back. If you wait until retirement to travel, you might not have the energy or health to enjoy it the way you would now. The longer you wait, the higher the cost. And the saddest part? Most people realize this too late. There's a famous study where researchers asked elderly people in their 80s and 90s about their biggest regrets. You know what the number one regret was? Not living a life true to themselves, not taking risks, not pursuing their dreams. They didn't regret the things they did. They regretted the things they didn't do, the chances they didn't take, the words they didn't say, the dreams they didn't chase. They waited and waited, and then it was too late. Don't let that be your story. You have a limited amount of time on this planet. Don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't waste it doing things you don't care about. Don't waste it being afraid. Live boldly. Take risks. Pursue what matters to you. Because at the end of your life, you won't regret the times you failed. You'll regret the times you didn't even try. Now let's talk about urgency. There's a difference between being rushed and being urgent. Being rushed is chaotic, it's stressful, it's reactive. You're running around putting out fires, never getting ahead. Being urgent is intentional, it's purposeful, it's proactive. You understand that time is limited, so you use it wisely. Urgency doesn't mean you're always stressed. It means you're always moving forward. You don't waste days scrolling. You don't spend years in jobs you hate. You don't let important relationships deteriorate because you're too busy. You prioritize what matters, and you act on it every single day. Here's a powerful exercise. Imagine you only have 1 year left to live, just 1 year. How would you spend it? What would you do differently? What would you stop doing? Who would you spend time with? What risks would you finally take? Write it down. Be honest. Now ask yourself, why aren't you living like that now? If those things are important enough to do in your last year, why aren't they important enough to do now? The answer is probably because you think you have more time. You think you can do them later. But what if you don't? What if this is it? This awareness, this sense of urgency, should drive you to live more intentionally, to stop wasting time on things that don't matter, to stop putting off the life you want, to start now. Let me give you a simple framework for living with urgency. Every morning ask yourself, if today were my last day, would I be proud of how I spent it? If the answer is no, change what you're doing. Every week, do one thing that scares you. Take a risk. Have a difficult conversation. Start that project. Apply for that opportunity. Don't let fear hold you back, because fear is just your brain trying to protect you from discomfort. But growth requires discomfort. Every month, review your priorities. Are you spending time on what actually matters, or are you drifting? Course correct as needed. Every year, reflect on your progress. How much closer are you to the life you want? What do you need to change? What's working? Use this information to adjust your approach for the next year. This framework keeps you accountable. It keeps you moving forward. It prevents you from waking up 5 years from now wondering where the time went. Here's something else. Living with urgency doesn't mean you never rest. Rest is important. Recovery is important. You can't sprint all the time. But there's a difference between rest and avoidance. Rest is intentional. You're recharging so you can come back stronger. Avoidance is procrastination. You're hiding from the work that matters. Be honest with yourself about which one you're doing. Now, let's address a common fear. What if I start and fail? Here's the truth. You probably will fail, at least at first. Failure is part of the process. It's how you learn. It's how you improve. Every successful person has failed, repeatedly. The difference is they didn't let failure stop them. They used it as feedback, they adjusted, they tried again, and eventually they succeeded. But here's what's guaranteed. If you never start, you'll definitely fail. You'll fail by default, because you never even tried. So the real question isn't, what if I fail? It's, what if I succeed? What if you start that business and it works? What if you write that book and it changes someone's life? What if you take that risk and it pays off? What if you look back 5 years from now and realize that starting today was the best decision you ever made? That's possible, but only if you start. Here's another reality check. Time is passing whether you take action or not. A year from now, you'll be 1 year older. That's happening regardless. The question is, will you be 1 year closer to your goals? Or will you still be in the same place wishing you'd started sooner? The choice is yours. But please choose action. Choose progress. Choose to start. Let me share one more story. I once met an entrepreneur. Let's call her Sarah. She built a successful company from scratch. I asked her what her secret was. She said, I stopped waiting for the perfect time. I realized there is no perfect time, so I just started. And I figured it out along the way. That's it. That's the secret. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to be perfectly prepared. You just need to start. And then you keep going. You learn, you adapt, you improve. But it all begins with that first step. So here's my final challenge to you. Think about the one thing you've been putting off. The thing you know you should do, but you've been avoiding. Maybe it's starting that project. Maybe it's having that conversation. Maybe it's making that change. Whatever it is, do it this week, not next month, not when you feel ready. This week, take the first step, send the email, make the call, sign up for the class, write the first page, just start. Because your time is now, not tomorrow, not someday, now. You've spent enough time thinking about it, planning, waiting. It's time to act. Your future self is counting on you. The person you could become is waiting for you to step up. Don't let them down. Don't let yourself down. You have one life, one shot, one limited amount of time. Use it wisely. Chase the things that matter. Build the life you want. Take the risks that scare you, because at the end of your life, you won't care about the times you played it safe. You'll care about the times you were brave, the times you took a chance, the times you lived fully. So live fully. Start now. Your time is ticking. What are you going to do with it? Your legacy starts today. Let's talk about legacy. When most people think about legacy, they think about what they'll leave behind after they're gone, what people will remember them for, what impact they'll have had on the world, and that's important. But here's what people miss. Your legacy isn't something that happens at the end of your life. It's something you're building right now, today, in this very moment. Every action you take, every decision you make, every hour you spend, it's all contributing to your legacy. The question is, what kind of legacy are you building? Are you building a legacy of excellence, of impact, of contribution? Or are you building a legacy of mediocrity, of wasted potential, of what could have been? The truth is, you're building something either way. You can't not build a legacy. The only question is whether you're building it intentionally or accidentally. Most people build their legacy accidentally. They drift through life, reacting to circumstances, never really taking control. And at the end, they're surprised by what they've built, or rather, what they haven't built. But you don't have to be like most people. You can choose to build your legacy intentionally, starting today. Here's how. First, define what you want to be known for. Not what society says you should be known for, not what your parents want, not what looks impressive on paper. What do you actually want your life to stand for? Maybe it's being a great parent. Maybe it's building businesses that create jobs. Maybe it's creating art that moves people. Maybe it's helping others improve their lives. Whatever it is, get clear on it. Because once you know what you want to be known for, you can start making decisions that align with that vision. Second, recognize that small daily actions create your legacy. You don't build a legacy in one dramatic moment. You build it in 1,000 small moments. It's the way you treat people when no one's watching. It's the work you do when you're tired. It's the integrity you maintain when it would be easier to cut corners. It's showing up consistently, even when it's hard. That's what builds a legacy. Think about the people you admire, the people who've made a real impact. They didn't do it with one big action. They did it through consistent daily commitment to their values and their work. Steve Jobs didn't create Apple in a day. He showed up every day for decades, pushing for excellence. Mother Teresa didn't change the world overnight. She served the poor every single day for years. Nelson Mandela didn't end apartheid with one speech. He fought for justice every day, even from a prison cell. Legacy is built daily. Third, understand that time is your most valuable asset in building a legacy. You can always make more money. You can replace material possessions. But you can't make more time. Every hour you waste is an hour you could have spent building something meaningful. Every day you procrastinate is a day of impact lost. This isn't about working yourself to death. It's about being intentional with your time. Are you spending it on things that align with the legacy you want to build? Or are you letting it slip away on things that don't matter? Fourth, focus on contribution, not consumption. The world doesn't need more consumers. It needs more creators, more contributors, more people who add value. What are you creating? What are you contributing? Are you just taking from the world, consuming content, using resources, expecting things from others? Or are you giving back, creating value, helping people, making things better than you found them? Your legacy will be determined by what you give, not what you take. So ask yourself every day, what did I contribute today? Fifth, invest in relationships. At the end of your life, you won't care about how many followers you had or how much money you made. You'll care about the relationships you built, the people you loved, the lives you touched. So invest in people. Be present. Show up for the people who matter. Listen, support, encourage, love. Because relationships are the real wealth. They're what actually matters, and they're a huge part of your legacy. Sixth, be willing to sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term impact. Building a meaningful legacy requires sacrifice. It means saying no to instant gratification. It means working when you'd rather relax. It means making hard choices. But here's the thing. Those sacrifices are what separate people who build legacies from people who just exist. Anyone can choose comfort. That's easy. But choosing impact, choosing to do hard things in service of something bigger, that takes courage. And that's what creates a legacy worth leaving. Let me share something personal. A few years ago, I had a moment of clarity. I realized I was spending most of my time on things that didn't matter. I was busy. I was making money. But I wasn't building anything meaningful. If I died tomorrow, what would my legacy be? He was busy. He made money. That wasn't enough for me. So I made a change. I started asking myself, is this contributing to the legacy I want to build? If the answer was no, I stopped doing it, or I minimized it, and I started investing my time in things that mattered, creating value, helping others, building something that would last beyond me. It wasn't easy. I had to say no to a lot of things. I had to make sacrifices. But looking back, it was the best decision I ever made. Because now, when I think about my legacy, I'm proud of what I'm building. Not perfect, not finished, but meaningful. And that's what matters. Now, here's something important. Your legacy doesn't have to be huge to be meaningful. You don't have to change the world. You don't have to be famous. Your legacy might be raising kids who grow up to be kind, thoughtful people. It might be being the person in your community who always shows up to help. It might be creating art that brings joy to a small group of people. It might be mentoring a few individuals who then go on to do great things. Small legacies matter just as much as big ones, because impact isn't measured by scale. It's measured by depth. Changing one person's life deeply is just as valuable as touching 1 million people superficially. So don't get caught up in thinking your legacy has to be grand. Just make it real. Make it meaningful. Here's a powerful question to ask yourself regularly. If I died today, what would people say about me? Would they say you were kind, generous, hardworking, inspiring? Would they say you made a difference, that you added value, that you cared? Or would they struggle to find meaningful things to say? This isn't about vanity. It's about alignment. It's about making sure your daily actions match the person you want to be. Because who you are is determined by what you do, not what you intend to do, not what you wish you did, what you actually do. So if there's a gap between who you want to be and who you're being, close it today. Another thought. Your legacy includes how you treat people when it doesn't benefit you. Anyone can be nice to their boss or to powerful people. That's self-interest. But how do you treat the waiter, the janitor, the person who can't do anything for you? That reveals your true character, and that's what people will remember. Maya Angelou said it perfectly. People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. but people will never forget how you made them feel. Your legacy lives in the hearts of the people you touch. So make people feel valued, seen, respected. That's a legacy that lasts. Now, let's talk about time again, but from a different angle. You have, on average, about 4,000 weeks in a lifetime. 4,000 weeks. That's it. How many have you already used? How many do you have left? Nobody knows. But the number is definitely finite. So here's the question. What are you doing with your remaining weeks? Are you using them intentionally? Are you building something that matters? Or are you just letting them pass by, one after another, without purpose? Every week that passes is a week you'll never get back. Make it count. Let me give you a practical exercise. At the end of each week, write down 3 things you did that contributed to the legacy you want to build. Maybe you helped someone. Maybe you created something valuable. Maybe you showed up when it was hard. Just 3 things. This keeps you accountable. It keeps you intentional. And over time, those small contributions add up to something significant. Here's the beautiful thing about building a legacy intentionally. It gives your life meaning. It gives you purpose. It makes every day matter. You're not just going through the motions. You're building something, and that's deeply fulfilling. It also helps you make better decisions. When you're clear on the legacy you want to build, decisions become easier. Should you take this job? Ask. Does it align with my legacy? Should you spend time on this activity? Ask. Does it contribute to what I'm building? Should you say yes to this opportunity? Ask. Does it move me toward the person I want to become? Your legacy becomes your compass. Now, I want to address something important. Building a legacy isn't about being perfect. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to have bad days. You're going to fall short sometimes. That's okay. That's human. What matters is that you keep showing up, that you keep trying, that you keep moving forward. Your legacy isn't about perfection. It's about direction. As long as you're moving toward the person you want to become, you're building a meaningful legacy. So be kind to yourself. Give yourself grace, but don't give yourself excuses. There's a difference. Finally, remember this. Your legacy starts today, not when you're older, not when you're more successful, not when you're ready. Today. Every action you take today is a brick in the structure of your legacy. So make it a good one. Treat people well. Do meaningful work. Show up with integrity. Contribute value. Build something that matters. Because one day, you'll run out of time. And when that day comes, you want to look back and feel proud. Proud of who you became. Proud of what you built. Proud of the lives you touched. That's a legacy worth leaving. And it starts now. Epilogue. Take control of your time. Now we've covered a lot of ground in this conversation. We talked about the true value of time, about clarity, about priorities, about planning, about focus, about the compound effect, about systems, about urgency, about legacy. But all of it comes down to one simple truth. Time is your most valuable asset. And how you use it determines the quality of your life. You can't control how much time you have, but you can control how you use it. You can waste it on distractions and mediocrity, or you can invest it in building something meaningful. The choice is yours. And you make that choice every single day, every single hour, every single minute. So choose wisely. Don't wait for the perfect moment. It doesn't exist. Don't wait until you feel ready. You never will. Don't wait until you have more time. You won't. Start now. Today. this moment. Take control of your time. Build the life you want. Create the legacy you'll be proud of. Because your time is now, and it's the only time you have. Use it well.